Now, if anybody has a problem with any of the monies that are sent to Israel, it is not subject to public debate and is only scrutinized by select members, paid off, of course, bought off, of the House and Senate Intelligence Committee behind closed doors. And there you have it. Billions of dollars required to maintain, secure, and accelerate real-time data pipelines to Israel are absorbed into the baseline operating costs of agencies like the NGA, that's the geospatial agency, and the CIA. So you see how clever this is. Here, this will probably make it a little more clear. We're now dealing with three parties, not just the United States and Israel, but the United States and Israel and the globalist private sector, because they're the ones who are driving this bus right now. United States could well have another arrangement or agreement with Finland and make it just as difficult for a future administration to kibosh, to shut it down. But the decisions are made by the organizations who are laundering the money, in this case, the private sector. When a private U.S. company partners with an Israeli firm under a Pentagon-backed initiative, much of the technology and hardware transfer happens via direct commercial sales and private licensing agreements rather than state-to-state arms transfer. DCS agreements face far less stringent congressional reporting thresholds because they're too fucking dumb to know what's actually been done and what's been spent. And they're also compromised, obviously. Congress hasn't technically surrendered its constitutional authority to pass budgets, but it is allowing the conduit to change, and the conduit is completely controlled by the corporations whose majority of shares are owned by the trillionaire class, which are the people who are at the tippy top of globalism, who make all of the decisions. It's basically just taken the American piggy bank that's purported to be owned by the American population, and handing it to the globalist private sector. Once you're part of the plumbing, you get paid automatically whether the water is turned on or not. And let's talk again for a second about Israel, because Israel, since their escapades in Lebanon started, and the hammering they took from Iran a few times now, they're about to get another one. The country is pretty much shut down, and they were edging toward 500 or 600 million in gross domestic product. And if you look at the amount of money that's been sent to Israel, no strings attached, by the United States thus far, that's been about the total for the last couple of years. They are not even operating at 50% of their normal non-wartime capacity. And the conduits don't have to go through the military budgets when you've got the intelligence agencies budgets in there as well, because that's a black box. What I'm saying here is that all of the money that Israel needs to function is being supplied by the United States taxpayer right now, and it was getting way too large. You know how they were talking about this year being the first $1 trillion budget year for the American military, and that next year it's going to go up and almost double? Well, $500 or $600 billion of the 1.9 or so that they're asking for is going directly to Israel, so that if nobody was capable of working from today right through the end of the year, everybody in the country would be covered, while people in the United States are barely hanging on by a thread. They're hanging on by their fingernails. So it is about bankrupting you. This has always been about you. It always will be. And very few people seem to be able to see that. But it's bad enough getting into bed with a genocidal government on the other side of the world when people are starving to death in your own country. The fact that this can be expanded far beyond Israel, once the precedent is set, all they need is a new contract or agreement with, I don't know, the Congo or with Lithuania, or one of the countries they've already been shaken down forever, like Iraq or Pakistan. And speaking of Iraq and Pakistan, well, this one is mainly about Pakistan. This started just a few days ago. Pakistani officials say that they have warned Iran that attacks on Saudi Arabia are a red line for Pakistan. Islamabad fears Houthi escalation rather than direct Iranian action could draw Pakistani forces into the conflict. And of course, the International Monetary Fund has Pakistan almost as buried as Lebanon. And you saw how badly their government was bought off, so that they pretty much just handed the southern quarter of their country away. This is Lebanon, to Israel with no fixed dates for withdrawal. They're pretty much just giving the southern quarter of the country away. That's what this kind of financial pressure over decades can buy you in today's market. They bought the Lebanese government, who's giving away their country piecemeal, and it'll get worse before it gets better. Pakistan is in almost as bad a shape as Lebanon was when their government was purchased. Same playbook. So don't be surprised if they try to bring Pakistan in on trying to squeeze Iran like a zit. But between Iraq, which has now become pretty much a partner with Iran, and Pakistan, pretty much the government being on skates because of the financial difficulty that they've been in for so long. Look for fireworks here, because there's no way that people in Pakistan are going to go for applying any kind of military pressure to Iran. But this is what the powers that shouldn't be are trying to put Pakistan up to. And I'm just giving you a heads up that it's out there and that it is a distinct possibility moving forward. Anyway, I've really tried your patience today. It's been a little longer than I intended. I'm putting up a clip that's not really directly related to what I've been talking about in this one, but I thought it was very interesting, and it's so well expressed. It just makes you shake your head and say, why is the world having to go through this ridiculous narrative? And so many innocent people have been butchered already and are continuing to die, and it's actually getting worse in Gaza. And all of the media has pulled their attention away from it. But the way things really sit, it's not difficult at all. You have somebody that knows what they're talking about, speaking their mind, which is something that has been well, it's been sorely missed for sure. But this helps at least a little. Very nice to see you again. I'll see you in the next one. Please enjoy the clip.
Israel has valid, long-standing historical ties to the land.
No. Legally, no. Legally, no. I mean, that's the claim. It doesn't have any legal foundation. In the League of Nations a covenant that was part of the Versailles Treaty, the Palestine Mandate was supposed to be provisionally recognized as an independent state, a state for everyone, a single state for all the people on that land, not a state for a particular racial group. So the idea, and Israel is a Jewish state by definition, and there is no legal basis for a specifically Jewish state on that land in international law.
What is or would be Israel's strongest argument before a court of law?
For what? To dominate Palestinians? There is no argument for committing genocide. I mean, what would be what needs to be justified?